Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Art Hunter channel, and today we're going to be doing an unbubble wrapping of a few different Cels from a production that I don't have any Cels from. I don't have these characters at all, and there's 3 different ones, so let's go ahead and get started. Okie dokie, let's go ahead and use some scissors for this one. I always like to shit these open in one fell swoop, try to make sure we're not having too many opportunities to cut the pieces in half. So we've got a few Cels here, extra cardboard out of the way. I'm always afraid I'm gonna throw out something. So yeah, that's just a piece of cardboard. I'm always afraid I'm gonna throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. I'll just be unpackaging things and then go ahead and throw out the actual piece or a piece from it. I get especially nervous with that when I'm getting something from big auction houses because they pack things so well. And I'm just, and they do pack in a way that they show you, where things are. But I'm just nervous because I'm like, geez, these are such expensive pieces. And make sure I don't have something just floating around there. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. I'm excited. These are pieces I do not have in my collection, characters I don't have from a show that I don't have, and so let's take a look. Okay, so we've got Alvin, Theodore, and Simon, which is usually Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. I think that's the way they usually talk about it. Now, I got these 3 pieces for a pretty reasonable price, so I wasn't as worried about condition, and as I'm opening it up now, I can kind of see that there's some issues here. This seems to be wildly stuck. This seems to be very, very stuck. So I'm actually going to see how stuck this is, which, for me, I like having the original sketches with it. I don't like that this isn't lined up exactly correctly. You kind of, see the lines behind it and stuff like that. I would almost rather have this piece with just the paper on the back. Meaning, if I take this off, if I'm able to detach this without ripping off the paint, I would rather rip off the paper off the backside and just have that sell regularly. Let's take a look at Simon here as far as condition. Yeah, same sort of thing. You can see it's pretty well stuck there, so this might take a little bit of energy to try to unstick. And then unfortunately, I'm seeing here that Theodore has some issues on his face. Now that's something I didn't really look as closely at the photos, so there's a lot of line issues there. But I think from a distance, it's not so bad. And again, these are relatively inexpensive. So even if you just had one Cel from it, or you're able to put these together just in some sort of a way, I think it's going to be fine. And again, these are characters that I don't have, so I'm actually going to take just a moment to see how stuck these actually are. I'm not using gloves for this right now because it is a lot tougher to detach and get some of that dexterity when you have the gloves on. And again, these aren't super high-end expensive pieces. So let me just take a look here and see what I can do. Oh yeah, the paper is just super uber stuck. But the great thing about it is it appears as though, which in most cases, this is the case, where it's ripping off of the paper and not ripping off the paint. And again, for display purposes, I would rather not have the paper on the back of these. This could have been my bad as far as when I read the description. I don't think it would have deterred me from purchasing these, by the way, because again, they were for a decent price. But I don't know if this was in the description of the auction that I was purchasing, if they mentioned whether or not these were stuck together. I find oftentimes, individuals who are listing don't do that. Now, again, I would have to look back on this particular one, so if the seller's watching or something, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. But I've noticed that with a few pieces. There was another piece, a Don Bluth piece I was recently looking at, and online there was a reserve on it. It was going for, I believe, far more expensive than it might be worth. And I mean, worth and value is up to the collector. I was going for a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it, at least my own worth. But I was willing to because it was a really cool setup. But I emailed before I took the plunge of going higher than I initially anticipated bidding. I went ahead and dropped an email to the person and said, I just want to double check that this isn't stuck. The Cels aren't stuck to each other, not stuck to the piece. And he confirmed. He said, well, it's already packed up. I don't really know. But he was able to look back at his notes and said, oh, in fact, yeah, it is stuck. and that wasn't listed in the description of the damage or condition of the pieces. And so for me, I feel like if they would have listed those details, I think that it probably would have went for a price that I would have been willing to pay, because it would have been matching, you know, my value of the item plus the condition. But because it wasn't listed like that, I think you get bidders that just assume that things are, you know, in pristine condition. They're not stuck together. They're looking for, you know, the best quality version of those pieces. And so I think that's a little disingenuous when it comes to the bidding process. But for this one, again, I don't know that was the case. I'd have to look back at the auction again. I wasn't too worried. So I'm getting a little bit more impatient with this, and so I'm pulling things up a little bit faster. I'm just going to do it with this one piece to kind of see what it looks like, and I can spend time with those other ones after a bid. Won't necessarily have to have you watch it on camera. But we'll see what this looks like. This is pretty much destroyed the paper on the back. I mean, it's the sketch is completely going to be ruined. So I'm not worried now about making sure that I get it off and whether or not that sketch is going to be in good condition or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and rip it off. Some of you might be watching at home and are like, "This guy is a maniac. Why is he ripping things off?" And yeah, making it worse. I can probably go back here and clean up a little bit. So there's this wonderful sketch of Alvin. That's wonderful. And then I can go back through here and take a little bit more of the paper off, probably. Make sure that nothing's showing through on the front end. Sometimes you'll get little bits of paper. I think there's an example there. So I can go ahead and take that off so it's not displaying in the front. But I think this is much better looking. And I just lost the paper, so it's gone forever. So yeah, if you look at this, I think that's much better looking than having those lines in the background that really don't add much to it. It just looks like you framed it poorly. It's like, well, why would you frame it so those lines were showing? Actually, well, it's just stuck together and I couldn't take them off. So yeah, I'm going to try to do that. This one, it appears that, let's see, for this one, we've got... This one's actually stuck to the back of it, so I'm actually take this off a little bit more slowly and diligently, because I might be able to save the sketch as well. And then Simon, I might also be able to save the sketch if I go really, really slowly, because it's a much smaller figure, and there's not as much paint there. So hopefully we'll see what that looks like. So yeah, overall, I think you know, for the price I paid, these are pretty good Cels. I'm pleased with the condition as far as that goes, and hopefully I'm able to get those cleaned up a little bit more and get them displayed, and a great little addition to my collection. I'm really happy to add these 3 pieces to my collection. 3 characters I don't have, 1 show that I don't have, and even though I wasn't a huge diehard Alvin and the Chipmunks fan, I think that they're kind of cool because they remind me of my childhood and the nostalgia of it. I think I more remember the Christmas specials and the "Gee, I Want a Hula Hoop" song or something like that. So, you know, even though they're not grade A as far as my want list, I think that they're a cool addition to my collection because it does bring back memories and nostalgia for me. You know, not as much into the new Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, and so I'm not sure that you know, those brought anything back for me, but these definitely did bring back some memories. So hopefully you like the videos, and make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and all those sorts of things. Keep engaged with me and the community, and we will see you next time right here on the Pop Art Hunter channel.